So it's been a couple of very busy days, both on the farm and off the farm. And I have some updates to talk to you guys about and some new things I need to tell you about and some things I want to get your opinion on. So why don't you guys buckle up and come with me and let's go take care of the animals. Isn't that right, Toby dog? Isn't that right, Abby dog? Uh-oh. Looks like we have our first escapee for the morning. Barnacus, what are you doing? So yesterday, the goats escaped. All three of them escaped. Eventually I let them out. And somehow they found their way into a burdock patch. And so they are covered in burdock. I'm gonna let you guys all out. You can wander around again today. Hi fellas, come here and say hi to everybody. They're like, where's our hay? Where's our hay? We want hay, we want hay. Okay guys, let's do the bird chores. Morning birds! And I guess one of the things I should be telling you about is the fact that bird chores are starting to change. Since we're becoming in the middle of mud season / spring, that means it's time for me to change up how I do my bird chores, which I'll show you guys in just a minute. And part one of that begins with, I'm actually not locking them up at night again, so I kind of let them come and go as they need to. The dogs now have access to this space as well, so they can get around, so I'm not really worried about any predator issues or anything. But one of the things I've noticed is, I've got the birds now making nests all over the place. Like, there's no eggs in here, but that's typically been a nest. They'll come out here whenever they want. They can swim in this pond and get around. This is like the transitional point where I go from like having them living inside the hoop coop all winter to I don't know, probably by mid-May, late May, I'll have them out in the pasture full time for pretty much the rest of the summer until late September, early October, maybe even late October. It's all very weather dependent. But whenever I get to this part of the year, it definitely feels like spring has sprung, even though we have a very short, true traditional spring vibe here. Ooh, gotta reconnect the hose. I also know I need to be careful about not being lured into a false spring. You know, like last week we had temps, I think the high was like 65 or so. But now we're back to, I think it's about 25 degrees Fahrenheit right now this morning. And so actually yesterday I totally screwed up because we had freezing temps last night, or the night before too. And so I forgot to drain my hose here. I forgot to drain the cattle hose. And so I had to like spend, I don't know, probably about an hour yesterday thawing water lines so that I could get water for all the animals. That was just my stupidity. I got relaxed into this idea that, hey, spring is here and I don't have to drain water and I can go to my simple, easy watering systems, but that is still most definitely not the case. I know it's been a while, but I think I owe you guys a Goldshaw Farm egg hunt. So why don't you come with me and let's see what we can find.
Ducks are quacking, geese attack, chickens squawk, eggs to track, hoop coop chaos, feathers fly, scrambled footsteps, dogs nearby. Toby dashes left and right, Abby barking with delight, hidden eggs beneath the straw, grab 'em quick with gentle paw. Goose eggs roll and duck eggs hide, chicken nests on every side, springtime madness, shells galore, every morning egg hunt war.
So this is a pretty exciting egg haul that I just pulled together here. So I only have 2 chicken eggs so far, but the chickens usually lay their eggs over the course of the day. And so I think yesterday my collection was 23, the day before that it was 22. I'm gonna guess I get probably at least another 20 today because my chickens are just like pumping on overdrive. Also, you guys will be happy to know that goose egg production is back up to normal. These geese are pumping out probably about between 2 and 5. It depends on the day because they don't lay an egg every single day. I'm currently taking every single goose egg that I get and getting it ready for the incubator. I've already got my first class of goose eggs going and I'm about to get my second class of eggs going. So hopefully we'll have some good luck hatching this one over the next 30 days or so. And then the other thing that's worth noting is I've just gotten a whole bunch of duck eggs. You know, the ducks weren't laying eggs even as recently as a week ago, but in the last week, suddenly everything snapped into overdrive and they are producing. And in particular, I actually want to talk about this egg right right here because I found a very lucky void egg. Now you might see this black duck egg and be terrified of it and think that there's something wrong with it or it's got a problem, but this is actually perfectly normal for one breed of duck that we have here on the farm. They always start laying these black eggs. So the Cayuga duck, which is this black duck that has like these black that almost turn like green iridescent feathers that as they age, they turn whiter and whiter. When they start laying eggs again in the spring, they have like this black bloom to their eggs. Like if I was to like try to wash this egg, it would actually start to like scuff off. You can even see that there's like some scratch marks on this egg specifically. And that's just because like if you scratch at it, the blackness will come off. As they start laying their first egg, they all start to come out like this. And as the laying season goes on, they start to get lighter. This is like about as black as they'll get, but then like this is probably a week or two later. And then eventually they all start to look like normal duck eggs. Like, you know, this is like a normal duck egg. So you can actually see the color difference that starts to emerge over just a little bit of time. If I were to crack these eggs open, you would pretty much see that they all look the same, which maybe I should crack these open. I bet the dogs would really like it if I crack these eggs open. I mean, look at Abby dog. She's even in her good girl stance. Yeah. Come on, dogs. You guys get a treat. Let's go. All right. So first, we're going to do just a regular old duck egg. And Ginny, please don't knock this over. You can see that. That just looks pretty normal. And now what we're going to do is we'll do the black eggs. See what it looks like. See? I mean, the yolk is a little bit different color, but otherwise they basically look about the same. I know another question a lot of folks have is the difference between a chicken egg and a duck egg. So here, we'll do that one too for you. Okay, so there's our duck egg. Now here goes our chicken egg. Now you can see just the difference in size and yolk, right? Like, so here's the chicken, here's the duck. This one is significantly bigger. The white of the eggs are also a little different too. There's just a lot more viscosity to the white of the duck egg versus the chicken egg. And I know the dog bowls are a little dirty from last night's dinner, but I just figured this would be a fun impromptu demo. Plus I have some friends who might like to eat these. Okay, Abby dog, you can have that one. Mr. Toby dog, as if I would forget about you. Come on, here you go, pal. Dig in. Happy treats for the dogs. Abby dog, did you already finish yours? I'm sorry, well that's Toby's. You don't get to eat your eggs and Toby's eggs. That's just not fair. And I just noticed a problem. Here, I'm gonna need your help, guys. As you guys know, on our farm, we have a duck who's blind. Her name is Bean. She's very sweet, but kinda helpless. And sometimes she gets herself in predicaments. And as you can see right here, she has clearly gotten herself into a predicament this morning. Bean, what happened to you? How'd you get out here? She probably wandered over here from the pond and she got stuck in the fence and now she's really stuck. As evidenced by the fact that my fishing net is over here, this is not the first time this has happened. I feel like I need to figure out a better way for her to be able to manage this situation. Hang on, Beanie. I got you, girl. I got you, girl. Yes, these are some of the challenges of being a blind duck. But that's why I gotta just kind of watch for her and be careful with her and sometimes give her a little bit of a helping hand. She actually does better in the summer months when she's outside than versus in here where sometimes she can get herself into predicaments like that. I'm gonna set you down and you can maybe get some food and a drink of water. Don't jump over the other side. Probably actually what happened is she might have gone over the barrier because now that there isn't the snow guard in here, the birds can slip underneath that sidewall of the hoop coop. She was just trying to find some food, but she kind of freaked out that hen right there. Okay, Beanie, be careful. Don't get yourself into any more trouble, okay? All right, Mr. Toby Dog, you ready to go do cow chores? Yeah? So one thing I did actually the other day is I went to a conference, which these days it's kind of rare for me. I don't usually go to conferences, but it was like a grass farmer conference, like the Vermont Grazers Association, which I don't think that's their official name, but they were the ones who put it on. And it was a really good event and I really enjoyed it. I actually want to go to more of those events. Whenever I go to something like that and just meet other folks who are raising cattle and sheep and goats on pasture, I just find that there's just so much you can learn from the experience and I just get a lot out of it. I also got to see some old friends, as well as meet a couple new friends, including, I was actually really excited to meet this guy. So like I have this friend by the name of John Soskovich. He's, you know, a farmer and like a farm marketer. Like he's like a really just, I don't know, creative, smart dude. And like, he's actually the guy who designs these chicken tractors, for example. Like, he came up with the design for that, and he even sells a book of like the plans. Well, he has this friend that he's had on his podcast and videos over the years by the name of Troy Bishop, who goes by the name of the Grass Whisperer, who is a farmer, like a cattle farmer out in like New York area, middle New York. I know you always want to like call upstate New York like upstate New York, but upstate New York counts like from everything from Albany to like Buffalo, so it's a pretty wide range. Well, anyway, this guy Troy was at the grass conference, and he actually led a panel on the topic of bale grazing. And it was a great panel, and it was just really cool to meet him and chat with him. And we were talking about some of the plans that we have for the back pasture out there, and he had some really good ideas. And I'm actually hoping I can even try to convince him to come out here to the farm sometime in the not too distant future to maybe give me some tips as I think about doing that conversion of going from like basically woods to pasture, and what are the things I should be thinking about and what are the things I should be doing, because that's definitely going to be a project that you guys see develop over the course of the summer, and it should be a fun one. I will admit I poked my head down here earlier just to check and see if there were any calves, because we are getting to the point in the season where I could have a calf drop at any minute. Come on, dogs, let's go inside. Abby was way on the other side of the farm. She heard that we were coming in here. She sprinted over. The girl loves her cow time. Morning, Betty Rubble. How are you doing, sweetheart? Hi, good to see you. Here, I think I might have a treat in my back pocket for you. I didn't bring the brush, though. Here. You want a treat? There you go, girl. I will say, out of the class of calves from last year, she is my favorite. I hope she becomes a very good mama on our farm for a very long time to come. Hey, Audrey, how's it going with my boss cow? Looks like I don't even need to break up the water trough because you guys have nice defrosted water. And now here's my favorite adult cow. How's it going, Ariel? She's pregnant and cranky. Here's her daughter from last year, who's probably not quite ready to be made the older child. Good morning, baby bee. We got Annabelle and the Charlet gang. How's it going, Buffy? How's it going, Amanda Hug and Kiss? You know, I made a recent video about how muddy it got in here, and now with all the cow hoof prints and the mud, it's pretty rocky. I might have to come through here and do some work, more so than I thought I was gonna have to do this summer to get this pasture back in shape. Like, I always knew I was gonna use it as a sacrifice lot, but this might be a little bit of a greater sacrifice than I was expecting. And here we have our problem child. So 2 nights ago, I came out to the pasture to, you know, check on things and like, you know, feed the dogs. It's like right at sundown or just shortly past sundown. One of the things I noticed was that she was missing. She had somehow snuck out into the permaculture orchard. Don't hurt my chestnut tree, Belinda. Belinda! Which is not a thing you want to see at like 7 o'clock at night. And so basically I decided, rather than try to round her up and herd her, because I find that particularly in the dark, cattle are more easily spooked. And even though she's really bucket trained, I actually didn't want to try to do it at night. And plus I was like tired and wanted to like wind down and get ready for bed. But the reality is I was actually coming out and watching her and really wanting to see if she was going to have a baby. Hang on, I'm just getting a look at you, girl. Oh, you trapped yourself in some serious burdock there. Because one of the behaviors I have seen with the cattle, particularly when they calve out on pasture, is that typically the mama, you know, a day or two before she calves, she's gonna go and like try to find a secluded spot to do her thing. And so rather than getting the good night's sleep, I kept coming out and checking on her and checking on her. And again, she is like, if I'm doing my math, it's a little bit early for her to have a calf, like a little bit, not a ton. And so, you know, it's kind of in the realm of possibilities. And so I was worried that she was gonna calf. I came out like probably 3 times over the course of that night and just kept checking on her as she was bedded down up there. But then the next morning, no calf. Probably in about the span of about 5 minutes, I was able to get her back inside by just, you know, coaxing her with some treats. And that's why I wanted to wait until daytime before I did it. And as of right now, she doesn't look like she's had a calf. You know, one of the things I'm doing every morning as I come in here is checking the girls to see how their udders are developing, and whether they're filling up with milk, whether or not they're starting to develop mucus, and whether their vaginas are swollen. And particularly as I look at Belinda Carlisle, I don't know. It still looks like she's a little ways away, but she's definitely getting there. You can see she found a burdock patch. Yeah, you love the treats. Belinda is very easily bucket trained. She won't let me brush her, but she's very easy to get to come with a bucket. And so She is the calf who last year escaped when I was doing my vet check. And like, it was really bad. I had my chute and squeeze set up right over there. She figured out how to pop the panel up and she ran out into that pasture and I had to catch her. Which when you have like 6 acres of fresh made grass, it is very hard to do that with a very stubborn heifer. But I was lucky and I was able to pull it off and get her back in. I'm still trying to figure out how she got out, but if I had to guess, it's gonna be probably the same way. You know, if a cow was stubborn enough and troublesome enough, they could easily poke their head through like the lower layer of these cattle panels. And like, it's actually frozen to the ground right now. I probably can't do it with my left hand, but they could probably just pick this up and pop it up and slip under. So if I had to guess, I'm pretty sure that's what she did. And I just really hope she doesn't do it again. She's always been a little bit of a troublemaker. And honestly, if she was not the first calf ever born on the farm, I would probably try to sell her. Because one of the exercises I got to do at the Vermont Grazers Association event, and again, I'm probably saying the name wrong, and I will leave its official name here as well as maybe a link down below if you want to learn more about them too and get involved. Like one of the things that we did was we actually filled out grazing plans, and in doing my grazing plan, I'm realizing that once I have all of the calves born this spring, I'm going to be pretty much at capacity or even slightly over capacity when I compare the land and how much it can reasonably carry with the animals and how much grass they actually need. And so I'm going to have to start to sell off more animals now because I can't just infinitely keep collecting cattle. And so, you know, as that happens, one of the things I start to do is say, well, which ones do I want to keep and which ones do I want to sell? Which quite honestly is all just part of being in the cattle biz, and it's a good problem to have. But I don't know, I just feel like I got to this place so quickly. It feels like it was only yesterday that in the very spot that I was standing, my friend Donnie was opening up his livestock trailer and we could have our 5 original cattle come out, and actually we have 4 of those 5 still. So Ariel that you see right there, and Audrey you see right there, and Anne of Green Gables, who's actually Belinda Carlisle's mom over there, and then Annabelle's over eating hay right over there. Those 4 ladies, along with Kurt Cobain, first were dropped off here. It feels like yesterday, but it was October of 2021. That time goes by so much quicker than you ever expect. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video update. I'll be back again real soon. And no new news on Pigfoot.